Hi, I'm Anthony F. Elmore in downtown Memphis on the mighty Mississippi River, bringing you another hot and fiery Black Memphis history lesson. This story is called Black Memphis History and the Al Green Connection by Anthony F. Elmore.
I was drinking a beer at the table and I had my back to the bandstand. So this kid started singing, and I turned around. I said, when it was over, I said, Jimmy, tell the kid to come over here. So he came over. I said, what you say your name was? He said, Al Green. I said, man, you got a beautiful voice. I said, you can cut a hit record. I said, why don't you go back to Memphis with me, and if we work real hard, I said, we can cut some hit records. All my life I've tampered in jazz chords and everything. So I began to write some jazz chords and try to get another sound for Al. So finally one Saturday afternoon I was tamping around the piano and I came up with this melody of Let's Stay Together. And I said, this could be something. So I kept messing with Al. Was in England then, so when Al came back, we went in the studio and I played it for him on the piano, and at this time Al Jackson was just sitting down playing drums with his hands, just imagining what it would be like. So when Al came in, Al said, well, give me 5 minutes and I'll write some words to it. So Al walked around and said, about 15 minutes later he came back with some words and we started messing with this song. So about a week later we put the track down. And that's where everything happened.
Then to know that Reverend Al Green was here. I'm so in love with you.
It was Tina Turner who revitalized her career when she re-recorded Al Green's 1972 song, Let's Stay Together. Now, why is Al Green important, and what is the relationship of Al Green? How do we explain Al Green? Let me kind of tell you my Al Green story. In 1982, I won the Professional Karate Association World Heavyweight title. In 1983, I was in Washington, D.C., and I was staying at the Howard Inn. That's the hotel that is managed by the Black University, Howard University. So I was at the Howard Inn in 1983, and coming out of the lobby, I was getting ready to go back home, and to come out of the lobby, there was Al Green on a Sunday morning and all his band members. Now, Al Green band members, those guys knew me. They said, that's Amp, what's going on, Amp? I said, what you guys doing? They said, well, man, we played last night at the Howard Inn. And there was Al Green standing in the lobby. And I went up and I talked to Al Green. I said, Al, I would be so honored. I said, I'm fighting 2 weeks in Memphis. This is in 1983, June of 1983. And I said, I'm fighting 2 weeks in Memphis, Tennessee. I would be honored if you could sing the national anthem at my fight. Al Green said, man, let's do it. I mean, imagine one of the greatest singers in the world, President Obama. In 1983, there I was at the lobby of the Howard Inn Hotel in Washington, D.C., and Al Green says he would sing the national anthem at my fight. Back in 1982, when I won the title, it was Grammy and Emmy Award winner Isaac Hayes who sung the national anthem for me in 1982. So there we are in 1983, and the great Al Green, who had recorded Let's Stay Together in 1972. Now this is 10 years He had sung the song, he recorded that song in 1972. There was 11 years later in 1983 and asking Al to do the national anthem. And when the big fight happened, I fought this guy by the name of Tracy Thomas in Memphis, Tennessee. And boy, there I was on stage, and Al Green came out there. Al had a white suit on, and Al wailed the national anthem for the brother. You talk about a happy man to have Al Green to sing the national anthem. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about racism. There's my friend. I'm the world PKA heavyweight champion. And there's this guy by the name of Joe Corley. Joe Corley is my friend, but Joe Corley was a businessman, and the PKA had an organization. What they wanted to do was create a white champion because they wanted white champion. They felt that a white champion would be more attractive to white people. So it was kind of like a little racist thing that was going on, but I was the heavyweight champion, I was the ticket, I was colorful, and I promoted to fight. And of course, when I had Al Green do the national anthem, I was so happy. But when that fight came on ESPN, and I'm looking at the fight, and I had knocked Tracy Thomas out, and I had a great victory, and it was great that Al Green sung this song, and Joe Corley and the Professional Karate Association decide to edit Al Green out of the telecast. I was so hurt, I was so distraught because this was racism at his highest. And when I talked to Joe Corley about it, Joe Corley told me, straight up, Joe says, Amp, he had a really an interesting rendition of the national anthem, but we at the Professional Karate Association thought that his version of the national anthem was too black. Can you imagine? The Professional Karate Association, and the wisdom of a white man, said that Al Green was too black. Now, but that's something that's important with that racism. I told Joe Corley, and 1 or 2 years later, Al Green was the host on Saturday Night Live. Now that there's no more PKA karate, Al Green has won probably 20 Grammy Awards. One of the greatest musicians in the history of American music. While the PKA has since folded, Al Green has gone to become one of the greatest and the most dynamic singers in our history, in our culture. But there was in 1983, we had to face racism. But it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. It does not stop there. Because it is Al Green who grew up in Arkansas, just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Al Green kept his afro hairdo. Al Green never tried to cross over. See, we in Memphis, Tennessee, we are the soul of America. See, we in Memphis, we don't cross over. We don't mix it up. We in Memphis are true to our culture. That's why Memphis is called the home of soul music. That's why we are soul. We are the real soul of America. Motown got a little slick music, and Philadelphia got their sound, and other places had that song. But when you came to Memphis music, you had the real soul music. Now, let's tie this into a little bit of history of Memphis, Tennessee. Now, I think it was about in 1951, a young man from right down the road there in Clarksdale, Mississippi, by the name of Ike Whisper Turner. Ike recorded a song, him and Jackie Brimstone, right here in Memphis, Tennessee, called Rocket 88. And when Jackie Brimstone cut that record, he had to have a band. Now, Ike had his band called the King of Rhythms that actually recorded the song, but Jackie Brimstone had to get a band. And that was a band right across the road in West Memphis, Arkansas. It was a club called the Plantation Club. Now, the Plantation Club, ladies and gentlemen, was a club that the white people could go to because the white people love black music. It's like the Cotton Club of Harlem. So Mayor Crump did not like white folk coming to that club, integrating with black people. So they had this white club with black musicians. And one of the musicians at the Plantation Club was my cousin. He's a distant cousin of mine. His name was Willie Mitchell. Now, when Jackie Brimstone cut the record, it was Willie Mitchell who became the band for Jackie Brimstone. It was Willie Mitchell, and it was Calvin Newman and Phyllis Newman and the Newman guys in the house band at the Plantation Club. Now, let's explain how all of this is interrelated. Again, I say it was my cousin, Willie Mitchell, who played the trumpet. Willie went out and recorded great songs, but in the 1970s, Willie Mitchell opened a recording studio, and that recording studio was, and it was Willie Mitchell who was the voice coach, and the coach for a young singer by the name of Al Green. Al Green in turn cut a song in 1972 called Let's Stay Together. It was Tina Turner who recorded the song again, Let's Stay Together, that revitalized her career. Now, again, I tell you, I was at the Howard Inn in 1983, and there was Al Green that sung for me. The song, the national anthem for me, but along with Al Green was one of the older guys out of my neighborhood. He was Al Green's band director. His name was Larry Lee. Now, Larry was one of the older guys in the neighborhood. He used to call me Weenie Head, and he used to jive me all the time, but he was one of the older guys. Larry Lee went to Tennessee State College, and when Larry Lee went to college, he met a young guitar player, and the guy, him and the guitar player who used to play with the Isley Brothers, they became very good friends. And Larry went into the military, and he got out in 1969. And when Larry got out, his friend, who was the guitar player, said, man, come on, join me. I'm playing in New York at a place called Woodstock. And when Larry Lee played at Woodstock, he played with the famous guitar player whose name was Jimi Hendrix. Now, when Larry, Jimi Hendrix died of drug overdose, but Larry eventually came back. He was the band director of Al Green. So there I was with Larry and Al Green, and all of us there together, and all of us had an interworking relationship because it was Larry Lee who played on a lot of the Al Green records, a guy out the neighborhood with us. There's an interrelationship here. Tina Turner was born just straight up the road at Nutbush, Tennessee. I used to date Tina Turner's, my girlfriend's mother married Tina Turner's uncle, who was John Bullock. And John Jr. and I, we are friends, so this is a very small world. But anyway, let me bring this conclusion. You see, ladies and gentlemen, let me close this story. In 1978, Al Green went to Tokyo. And even though Tokyo, Japan, is a Buddhist nation, Al Green went to the Tokyo Music Festival, and he sung a song that was based on his Christian faith. The song was called Bell, ladies and gentlemen. It was called Bell. And what Al Green did, he didn't care that he was going to a Buddhist nation. All he wanted to do was express his culture. And Al Green got on that stage, ladies and gentlemen, and he said, "Well, Lord and I were mighty good friends." I mean, look, the dude was singing the song. I'm not going to try to sing Al, but Al sung this song called Bell. So what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this lecture, and I'm going to show you how black people are supposed to do it. We want to congratulate Al Green on winning the Kennedy Center Award. That was on December the 7th, 2014. Let's close this out with Al Green singing the song Bell. Take it, Al. Put it on, Al. Show them Japanese why you're so tough, and you can even go to Japan with your black stuff and with your black self, and you lay it on the Japanese. Let's look at Al Green.
Thank you. So good to be in Tokyo. This evening I'd like to say, Bell, the Lord and I have been friends for a mighty long time. Let me say now, Bell, leaving him has never ever really crossed my mind. No, no. And I'd never go so far. 'Cause it's him no matter who you are. Let me say, Bell, oh, you're what I want, but it's him that I need. I'd like to take another minute just to say, Bell, the laughter of the sound has quieted down. But up above my head I can hear music when I said, Bell, the best thing we could do is have him around. Let me say it, and I think that if love is abound, oh my heart was off a nice bound. You say this one thing, people, Bell, oh, that's you and I, let his love come down all the way down from heaven. Say this. It seems so real to me. Just trying to act naturally, but let's not waste each other's time. And my joy is not a toy. Bill, I know that you can understand a little country boy. Just a little country boy, but let me say this one thing, people. And he brought me baby far. Oh, yes, it is. Through many country bars. And oh, let me say it. Well, he's my backbone star.
I'm Anthony F. Elmore in downtown Memphis on the mighty Mississippi River, bringing you another hot and fiery Black Memphis history lesson.